Okay, any other public comments? Any other public comments?
I guess I just want to continue what I was saying, which is the question was what happened, and I tried to say what happened, and then the second question that I have is what's the problem that you all have with what happened?
I'd be happy to speak to that if you like.
You know, just to continue then my comments, you know, it's not even so much the intricacies of the port management or who is best qualified or who's given great service to the city that is concerning to me as a resident, as much as the way this has been handled since questions have been raised about the procedures of reappointment and re-election. And if in a complex situation it doesn't seem like this is being held at the, you know, the right standard in terms of procedure and law, and not every party has been consulted and listened to, that creates a feeling of concern among, I think, residents of the Port District. So that's where a lot of the concern is, and nothing that I've seen this evening relieves any of that.
Well, I guess I'll go back in.
So is it okay for you to comment now, but not me? Because I was not allowed to comment at this point.
I think it's still open for public comments.
Right.
Still.
Then why was I not allowed to speak before?
You can't speak until the public's done. And then you can. And same with you.
That's what I'm asking. So why is there no more comment coming?
You're waiting, both of you.
Yeah. Do we have any other public comments? Yes.
Yeah, Joe Daisy. And it seems like the issue is that Arnie voted for himself as well as you voted for Arnie to fill that vacancy. There were only 2 commissioners at the time, and if Arnie had abstained, your vote would have been enough to appoint him anyway?
No, because that's what we did at the previous meeting. Well, I guess I'll talk to, we'll take other public comments and then I'll respond to your, well, I can go ahead and respond to your comment now.
Are you so you're done with public comments?
No, I guess I should continue on public comments.
Well, I'm asking the commission questions.
Right, but I will respond to the public comments afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, any other public comments? Any other public comments? Hearing none, we'll go on to commissioners' comments.
Yes, feel free to answer that question since it was the last
one.
Okay.
I will go ahead. Basically, we did that at the previous meeting, and I found that I was in error. I mean, Mr. Jim basically brought up the fact, and I started reading the minutes, and it basically said that if we're down to 1 commissioner, you can't have a single vote for, you know, for the I guess, to appoint a commissioner. You would have to have the county commissioners come in and appoint the commissioner at that time. But since we did have 2 sitting commissioners, you know, the way I looked at it, at first I thought that I guess originally I think our bookkeeper auditor contacted the state and they said, yeah, 1 commissioner you could appoint the other one, which they were wrong, I guess, in passing that information on to us. And so we did that at that first meeting. Then Commissioner Jim brought it up to me. We met, I guess, at Burger King, and he had some of the RCWs basically, which said pretty much that I couldn't appoint him by myself. And the way it was worded, it said, 1 commissioner can't appoint another one. So basically it said you can't have 1 vote. So looking at that, we went back and said, okay, can he vote for himself? And so we contacted the state auditor, and they wrote back to us, and they didn't know for sure. They said, well, leave it up to your attorney. We contacted, I think, who else did we contact? Gerald, do you remember?
Secretary of State,
Secretary of State.
Lily, at
Lily.
the Secretary of State's
And
office.
their reply was, did they just put it back in our hands again?
When I had asked her the question you directed me to ask her, she had said that this is not something that had occurred before, and that there was nothing set in the books about it, no pending lawsuits, nothing to refer back to, and that it would be okay for Commissioner Bockus at that point to vote for himself.
In writing?
I'm sorry?
In writing was that statement?
No, that was verbally over the phone. I just got the lady's name, the date and time I spoke with her, and the question I had asked.
Do you recall her name?
Her first name is Lily.
Lily? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm sorry.
No,
You said that.
that's fine.
Okay, so I take it the port made a good faith effort to comply with the law?
That's basically what we did, yes. Okay, we'll go on,
Well, I think we're still in commissioner comments.
right, your commission, yeah, we're on commissioner comments. Yours.
I think one point which I think one of the members of the public brought up that deserves some attention is there's a difference between what is okay and what no one will challenge you on, and what is the highest standard of ethical behavior. And I'm not going to try and say I'm a paragon of virtue, but if somebody raises a reasonable point that causes you to doubt the validity of your action, and there is no rush to correct the situation, the thing to do is to stop and think about it and get more advice. It's obvious that you were confident in the situation initially, and subsequently, upon reflection, became unconfident, felt you had to have a special meeting, which I realize you were not obligated and probably had some incentive to not invite me to, but that certainly does not add to the whole perception of ethical standards of what occurred. The continued reference to otherwise the county commissioners would get to vote in whoever they wanted is specious, because there is no obligation for them to do that until there's been an impasse for 90 days, which will not occur until the end of February. I've been quite open from the beginning in saying that what should have occurred, given the amount of time available, if there was an inadequate pool of applicants, would be to reopen the application process, which is the common practice in good business, and I would bet in government generally. As a side note, the application process was under 3 weeks, I believe, which I'm going to say is pretty substandard.
I couldn't tell you right offhand, I don't remember. I mean,
That's,
I got it
that's
in my
pretty
notes.
important,
Yeah,
to
I
have,
think-
to have an application period open for a reasonable length of time. I have spoken to each of these gentlemen, to the Washington Public Courts Association executive director, to their chief lawyer, to a number of people at the Secretary of State's office, to the Attorney General Attorney General's office I was directed to with regard to this. The gentleman's name is Tim Ford. He's the Ombudsman for Open Government. They all evidence significant concerns about how this happened. I'll say that regardless of how we proceed today, I have been advised by them to seek an Attorney General's opinion on this. So that will be occurring in the future.
Well, I will ask you for your comments. Do you have any comments to make at this time?
Well, I think that we need to go to the agenda, and if there are no further commissioner comments, deal with the agenda. At this point, unless we determine it being special session, I don't think that's an appropriate matter to discuss because of the privileged nature of the communication between the commissioners and myself.
Okay. Do you have any comments?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Okay, consent agenda items. Let's see. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the commission. For rating and study are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion of the commission with no separate discussion.